Howdy, y'all. It's Curious Raven. We are on day 4 of our Advent festivities. I hope y'all are doing okay today. I am joined by Lady SPOOKARIA. I hope y'all enjoy these stories. Let's get into the stories. Story 1. I'm from a musical family. My grandparents played music. Many uncles and aunts do, but neither my parents did, my brothers neither. So when I picked up a guitar, the family was very happy and felt sorry for me. I was the only one in our household who played music. Anyway, this is just a small detail I wanted to start off with. It was 8 years ago today my ex-girlfriend dumped me, and this really messed with my head. I guess it caught me off guard and I didn't know what to do with myself. She dominated and controlled my mind. I caught myself aimlessly driving around, playing the same particular sets of songs and thinking about doing dumb stuff, like stalking my ex-girlfriend or going to a prostitute to release some sexual frustration. At any given moment, I wanted to do it. Something happened which made me stop doing it, like someone shouting in my ear to not do it. That's what it felt like. So I didn't do any dumb things, but I did pretend to everyone I was fine, while I obviously wasn't. I locked myself in my room a lot and just numbed out a little. I would get into trances and play my acoustic guitar in a really weird way. So, for some reasons, I sat down and held my guitar right in front of me, straight up, without being able to see anything. Then suddenly I would regain my conscience and would suddenly be playing the guitar in this really weird way. I didn't know what the song was that I was trying to play, but it sounded familiar. At night, I would wake up to what I thought was my guitar making sounds, like these really haunting weeping sounds, but I thought it was my imagination. So this went on for a couple months, me being depressed as fuck, playing the same song on repeat in my car, wanting to do dumb stuff. Every time I got in my car to actually do it, something happened which made me stop. This went on until I fell in love again and got into a new relationship. Even more time later, I had the chance of meeting a medium. So, someone who can speak to ghosts. She started off telling me there was a woman my age with the same hair color next to me. I didn't know any woman. I had died back then. I was not familiar with her appearance either. Yet the ghost woman told the medium everything I had been doing, because somehow the medium knew. Music runs in the family, doesn't it? The medium asked me. She continued, "You're not alone." So I responded, "In my house I am." The medium shook her head. "You're not. Your sister plays guitar too." I told her I have no sister. Well, apparently I do according to the medium. The young woman next to me was my sister, guiding me, preventing you to do stupid things, she said. She tried to warn you and make you see through a song you know, the medium said. So I asked her what song. The song you've had on repeat for weeks in your car. The song you try to play on the guitar countless times. So I thought the song I was listening to was "While My Guitar Gently Weeps" Love Version by the Beatles. And the lyric still gives me goosebumps reading it from my dead sister's perspective. I look at you all, see the love there that's sleeping, while my guitar gently weeps. I look at the floor and see it needs sweeping. Still my guitar gently weeps. I don't know why nobody told you how to unfold your love. I don't know how someone controlled you. They bought and sold you. I look at the world and I notice it's turning, while my guitar gently weeps. With every mistake we must surely be learning. Still, my guitar gently weeps. I don't know how you were diverted. You were prevented too. I don't know how you were inverted. No one alerted you. I look from the wings at the play you are staging, while my guitar gently weeps, as I'm sitting here doing nothing but aging. Still, my guitar gently weeps. So when I got home, I asked my mom, did I have a sister? I was 21 at the time, and she never told me. Her eyes teared up. Who told you? Number 2. When I was around 13, I was on a video call with some old friends of mine who swore they kept seeing a black shadow figure standing right in the doorway of my bathroom. I didn't believe them until I looked at my camera and saw the shadow figure. I immediately panicked and looked behind me at the bathroom door. Sure enough, it was actually there. I screamed and grabbed up my phone and ran to another room. I forgot about the incident since me and those friends stopped talking, and I hadn't seen it since. Still haven't. So every time I thought of it, I would just think it was a dream I had or something. About a year ago, I got in touch with an old friend, and he had seen the shadow figure in that video call. I had started to believe it was a dream until I asked them if they remembered it, and they did. Definitely the strangest and scariest thing that's ever happened to me yet. I still live here and haven't seen it since. What's going on? Did it just leave? Story 3. Some of my experiences so far. I've always been a firm believer in the paranormal, and I have had a few experiences in my lifetime. I'm going to share some recent activity my wife and I have been experiencing since our daughter was born last year. Back in August this year, we were setting up for a trip around Ireland. Before leaving the house, I thought I will close the bedroom doors downstairs. So when closing these doors, I had to open my son's baby gate and move a toy from the doorway to be able to close it. My wife saw the doors close as soon as we left the house and we start our journey. Until about 5 minutes into the journey, we forgot something at the house, so we went back. Soon as I went in, I noticed all 3 bedroom doors lying open that had just been closed. We have a light in the hallway, which we have had for years, on Alexa plug. One night I got up to check on my son early in the morning and noticed this light on, thought nothing of it, thinking I had forgot to turn it off. Fast forward a few weeks later, and my daughter was crying, so we picked her up and brought her into our room. After a few hours after my wife woke to a light on in the hallway and thought it was strange, so soon as she mentioned it to me, it was on, I looked and the light went off again. She also said that coming back into the room, she closed the door tight, and which was now lying open. When he came into our room one morning last week at 6:20 a.m. and it was dark in the hallway, when he was lying down, I heard him say, "Light on," and I looked, and the light was on, and then it went off, and then back on again. So at this point, I took the Alexa plug out to rule this out. A couple of mornings at 6, I lay in my son's room, and he has a camera so we can watch him with the light on it. On the control panel, which was in our room with my wife, that you press a button for the light in the sequence for the lights to come off or low, medium, high, or off again. My son was like, "Daddy, lights on," and I thought nothing of this. I thought it was my wife. Then I saw what he was talking about, and the light went from medium light to low light, back to medium light. So I quickly went down to the back room, and my wife was asleep, and the control panel was off. There is no way that the light can do this, as the sequence cannot be changed. And by the way, the camera that is connected to the internet is a standalone. Then this morning we are convinced the hallway light that I took off the Alexa plug was on again, then went off, and I know it wasn't on in the middle of the night, as I was up till 2 a.m. with my daughter. My wife thinks whatever is happening to do with me, as it never happened to her until we met. As I say, I have a load of other experiences I might post one day. These are some of my experiences. I hope you enjoyed reading it. If I have any more on the above, I'll post them. Number 4. In the fall of 1986, my girlfriend, Chris, and I rode on a motorcycle to Ocean Beach in San Francisco around midnight to watch the moon and the ocean. We stood at the waist-high wall next to the stairs that led down to the beach. About 10 minutes after we arrived, I noticed a man on the shoreline just north of us. Assuming he was surf fishing, I said, "El Pescador," to Chris. A few moments later, he walked along the shoreline until he was directly in front of us. He waded out into the water and dove through a wave as it broke. But after he emerged from the water, his body was transported back to the shore. He waded back into the water and dove through another wave, and the same thing happened. And then again. Chris and I were a little freaked by this and talked about what we saw. The man then walked along the shore, but as a wave would crest in the water, he would be transported onto the wave as if he was surf walking. And as the wave broke, he would be transported back onto the shore. He repeated this a couple more times. After 10 minutes passed and we didn't see him, when he appeared again, he walks to the middle of the beach and began to spin around as if dancing. His arms began to swirl like ribbons very high into the sky, maybe 80 to 100 feet, very much resembling the colorful, shimmering texture of aurora borealis. It was both spectacular and frightening. For the next 15 minutes or so, we didn't see anything more, and we were about to leave when I saw him again and said, "El Pescador." In that moment, it took 3 giant steps without time passing and was now standing on the beach in the bottom of the stairs closer to us than my motorcycle. Chris looked at me for direction, and I took off running for my bike. Not my bravest moment. As I ran, the thing on the beach belted out a loud, shrill scream. I turned towards the scream and noticed someone else in the parking lot standing next to her car with the door open and her headlights facing the beach. I believe she must have seen the aurora borealis part and pulled into the lot. I got on my bike and felt Chris jump on behind me. As we took off, we had to ride past the stairs. The thing was now sitting on the stairs facing us, and it was 3 times the size it had been. How's that for a ghost story? Number 5. When I was about 6 to 7, I was taking photos on my dad's phone of his bedroom because I was extremely bored, and then I took a photo of his closet door. In person, there was nothing in front of the door, but in the photo, there was a black figure standing in front. And of course, I was scared shitless. Now, 10 years later, I moved to a new town, and I was just outside my flat. And then there was a black figure standing across the road from me. And then I looked again, and it was gone. I lived right next to a cemetery, and the figure was standing on the opposite road. Story number 6.
So, my dad got this electrical water bottle where you put water in it and it filters the water for you to drink and make you more energized. His words, not mine. Tonight, I was just walking around. I had just taken a small stream in the ivory throne, and I was walking back to my room, which was in the kitchen basically. So, I walked past the water bottle, and it turned on for some reason. I'm just kind of freaked and walked backwards into the living room, where my dad hung up these motion-censored lights because he's cheap. So I just watched this water bottle flicker on, and then, after a while, it would flicker off. So I'm really freaked right now, since the blue light from the bottle keeps illuminating other parts in the kitchen, while I'm just sitting on the couches watching it. And it didn't even have water in it. It was just empty, but kept taking so long to turn back off and then back on. I told my dad, who was sleeping on the couch, since he wanted me to have my room, and he said it could be a ghost. Ooh. In that really obnoxious ghost impression, he told me to just grab the water bottle and hand it to him. So I did that. I don't know. It just kind of freaked me the hell out. I'm in my room with the lights on, so I'm slowly calming down. I can still hear it going on and off, and it's really fucking weird.
Story number 7.
As stated in my last post, whatever was inhabiting my place of work came home with me. I find that it is not satisfied with bothering me just within the 4 walls of my house. It has now taken to messing with me outside. For context, I own just over an acre of land, and my house sits at just about dead center of the property from the sides. The front lawn is large, a bit closer to the road than I like. My back lawn is where I have the most space, so this is where I take my dog for potty and playtime. My nearest neighbor on the side of my house is far enough away that we cannot hear anything from each other. My neighbor to the rear is far enough away that I cannot see them. I only keep up with the first third of my back lawn. The rest I will allow to grow however it wishes. There are a lot of trees and wildflowers that have taken up residence there. Until last week, my dog enjoyed running around in the wooded area. Until last week, my dog enjoyed running around in the wooded area and sniffing around. It is fenced in for those that are concerned about her welfare. After the entity came home with me, she stopped wanting to explore. At first, I thought nothing of it. I just thought maybe she had grown bored with it. That was until I threw her favorite ball in the woods. She would not go get it. She ran to the edge and just whined a bit before her hackles raised and she began barking and growling. I thought perhaps there was some kind of animal in there, so I put her in the house and went to investigate. The only thing I found was her toy and the feeling that I was not alone. It was nearing dusk by this point, so visibility was not the best. Thinking the better of further exploration, I returned home. All the while I had the nagging sensation that I was being followed. Little interesting happened again, until it was time for her last potty, before calling it a night. I had to practically force her out the door, and at first, all she did was sit at the bottom step of my back deck and whine. The trees along the line between my lawn and the woods still had no leaves from winter, and there was no breeze. Still, they began to make a creaking noise, like they do when the branches rub in the high winds. This was all it took for my dog. She ran up the steps and hid behind me. This dog has never been a coward. She protects me from anything or anyone she sees as a threat. Though she is not aggressive, just protective, like a worried mom. I ended up putting a leash on her and taking her out front, where she had no issues going potty. The next morning when I took her out, it was still dark. We went out back and she peed right away as normal. While she was sniffing for a good spot to go number 2, something I could not see or hear spooked her again. Again, she ran up the steps and we had to go out front. I swear as I was closing the back door, I saw this black, almost smoke-like shape move along the tree line. She will not even consider going back when the sun is set now. If it is light out, she is fine. Today made my day, number 4, where she refused to go out this morning. I live alone, besides her, so I have no one to come explore with me. That being said, I have never been the kind to shy away either. Though it was chilly out, I ate my breakfast on the back porch, facing the tree line. It should also be noted that although I have a light out back, I never turn it on. So, there I sat, in the early morning dawn, light barely beginning to show, eating my bowl of frosted flakes and watching the tree line. Today, I know I saw a shape moving along the trunks of those trees. It was definitely shaped like a man, and yet not at the same time. At first, I thought it was just a trick. My eyes were playing on me. But the more I watched it, the more I knew it was there. It made no sound as it moved between the trunks, which would have been impossible due to the leaf litter within the woods. I had been holding the bowl, but set it down on the glass top of my table I had outside, making a light clinking noise. That caused this entity to stop moving for a moment. I do not know why, but I got to my feet and started backing towards my door, keeping my eyes on it. As my finger brushed against the knob, my dog started barking furiously, and the entity began charging in my direction. Panic overtook me for the first time in decades, and I spun, ripping the door open and practically flying inside. I slammed the door shut, and though now, looking back at it, logically makes no sense, but I locked the doorknob and engaged the deadbolt. Needless to say, my cereal bowl is still on that back porch. It is almost time for me to go home, and I don't want to.
All right, y'all, that is it for our stories. Please go and like Lady Spookaria's channel. Show her some love. I love y'all so much. I will see y'all tomorrow. But until then, remember it's scary out there. Please like and subscribe.
I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the world through ice covered in